शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। उकारस्वन्धकारो वैरुकारस्तन्निलग्रहः अन्तकारनिरोधित्वात् विधीयते। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। वसुदेवस्त्वं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। ॐ श्रीभगवानुवाच यत्रो परमते चित्तं निरुद्धं योगसेवया यत्र चैवात्मनात्मानं पश्यन्नात्मनि तुष्यति। यत्र योगसेवया निरुद्धं चित्तम् उपरमते यत्र च आत्मना आत्मानं पश्यन् आत्मनि एव तुष्यति। So yoga sevaya means here the meditation. Dhyana yoga sevaya. The chittam niruddham uparamate, the person abides in a mind which has been mastered. So basically means the person is constantly in meditation. That's what it means. Then atmana atmanam pashyanne atmani tushyati. So here it means the yoga here is jnana. The person gains the jnanam because of having been qualified through the meditation. Okay. So atmanam pashyanya. So in his mind, atmana here is by oneself. Swamiji says atmanam pashyanya through his mind. So all the jnanam happens only in the mind. We have already seen how this jnanam happens. We will see now in terms of the vritti. What kind of vritti happens? Okay, there is a vritti vyapti and phala vyapti we talk about. So when I say I know the part, so the part knowledge happens through a part vritti. Okay, that means my mind takes the form of a part. Okay, that is the part vritti. And then there is a vritti by which I know that vritti. Okay, I as an individual, I know myself and that I know the part. Whereas in the case of Atma, there is an Atma vritti, but that Atma is me only. So there are no two vrittis. Here there is a Gata Rupa vritti and then there is a vritti of knowing that vritti. Whereas in the other case, the only first vritti is there, the second vritti is not there. Therefore it is called as Akandakara vritti. Okay. I know many of you are having a blank face, but as you hear more, you will understand this more. Okay. Because this vritti is different. See, there the object is different from me. Okay, so the object vritti and me as a knower is also there. Whereas in the case of Atma, the knower and known are same. So you can't have two vrittis because you are not objectifying it. So there is only one vritti. Okay. Therefore it is called Akandakara vritti. We go to the next one. Sukham atyantikam yattate buddhigrahyamatīndriyam veti yatra na caivāyam stitaschalati tattvataha. Sukham. Okay, very interesting way of presenting this. Because the word Sukham itself can put us on a trip. Okay. So we have to clearly understand what is meant. Yattat atyantikam buddhigrahyam atindriyam sukham yatra ayam vetti cha stitaha tattvataha na eva chalati. Okay. Yattat Atyantikam Buddhigrahyam. Okay, that which is what Atyantikam without Anta, which is here he uses the word absolute, but that which doesn't have an end, always staying. Buddhigrahyam, that which is still known through buddhi only. However, it is atindriyam, it is not a indriya sukham. Okay, that kind of a sukham. Yatra, where ayam veti, one recognizes stitaha tattvataha. Okay, by the truth of oneself, nayeva chalati, one never moves away. Now, where there is a problem here, let's first understand what this is saying. Okay, so here it says by being in oneself. Okay, by being in this dhyana, one has a sukha anubhava. Okay, it says. Now, Atyantikam Sukham. This Sukham is like endless. So, immediately we are looking for bliss. Okay, this Sachidananda means existence, consciousness, bliss. Okay, but this bliss is a capital B bliss. Okay, that is how they translate. Okay, because it is different from the normal bliss. Then you are always waiting for Atma Sukham. So some experience which is going to really give me that kind of a bliss, where you will have a E kind of experience. Swamiji says all your teeth comes out because it is a great bliss that is going to happen. Right? And we also Perananda, Chitrimbam, Perimbam, all that we talk about. Right? So we need to understand what is this Sukham. Okay? And it also says it is Atyantikam, however it is Buddhigrahyam Sukham. But it is not similar to your Indriya Sukha. Okay. So, this Aham Vritti, okay, we'll talk a little bit about this Vritti Jnana. Okay. Because see here, when you are talking, so the previous verse was talking about Atma Jnana. Okay, because Atmani Eva Atmana Pashyana. But here and in the next verse, Bhagavan is going to give a different definition of what is yoga. He is going to say in 2 verses later, Tam Vidyat Dukkha Samyoga Viyogam Yoga Sangeetam. So the yoga itself has 2 meanings, right? The Yuj Dhatu comes in 2 meanings. One of them is being collected, whatever we generally spoke about yoga. The other one is Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Nirodha Artha also yoga can be used. So here he gives this Nirodhartha. So he says Samyoga Viyogam Yoga Sangeetam. Okay. So the yoga there is again Jnanam only. Okay, so we'll see at that time what he means there. Okay. But here the Sukham is due to, you can take it as an experiential Sukha. Okay, when in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, for example, when people go to Nirvikalpa, the Ashtanga Yoga leads you to a Samadhi. That Samadhi is probably the greatest thing you can gain in samsara, because you are consciously in a position to have a mastery over your senses, your mind, and you are able to get into a Samadhi. Okay. And like we saw earlier in one of the sessions, there is a slight difference between deep sleep and Samadhi, because in this Samadhi there is a vritti. Whereas in deep sleep, the mind is already gone, right? Pretty much. In both Nirvikalpa Samadhi and in deep sleep, avidya is there. Because after coming out of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, you are still the same person. Okay, you are not any different. Whatever, if suppose you are in Nirvikalpa Samadhi for 5 hours, you don't want to come out. But if your wife or husband comes and shakes you saying, milkman is asking for money, right? Then you come out of Nirvikalpa Samadhi and immediately you are angry. Okay, so you haven't changed a lot by what were you 5 hours before to now. Okay, so the Nirvikalpa Samadhi hasn't given you any new jnana. Okay, but it shows that you have a certain mastery over yourself. But there is also a happiness there, because in those 5 hours you have a vritti where you are with yourself. Okay, so that is why you are always happy to go into Nirvikalpa Samadhi, right? You like it. But then it also ends. Swamiji says it also leads you to a dukkha because it ended. Okay, you were able to do only 5 hours today. Yesterday you were there in Samadhi for 6 hours. Okay, so that dukkha continues even after you are in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. That is why we talk about Sahaja Samadhi, right? Because this Jnanam makes you be in that forever. Okay. So this that's why when you can, why we are talking about Ashtanga Yoga Samadhi here, because this verse can be misinterpreted to mean a samadhi, because it says Sukham Atyantikam, because there also it is Buddhi Grahyam. Okay, in the case of Nirvikalpa Samadhi also, it's your Buddhi only is having that vritti. Okay, the vritti which I said that you recognize having the vritti after you come out of Samadhi, because when you are in Samadhi, if you are understanding that there is a vritti, that means there is no Samadhi, right? But then if you are come out and say, I was happy for 5 hours, right? That means there was a witness vritti which was there. Now, that is also Buddhi Grahyam. So you are going to Buddhi only. And it is Atindriyam also. It is not a sensory happiness, because you are inside yourself. So you are having a happiness, right? So you can interpret this Buddhi Grahyam Atindriyam Sukham as a Nirvikalpa Samadhi Sukham. Okay. But then it doesn't stay. Okay. So that Atyantam Sukham is not there, right? So that's why we have to discuss that. Swamiji also discusses it in a big stretch. Okay. And this Vritijnanam thing also he brings about here. Okay. So the objectification vritti and the drashta vritti, the I thought. Okay. So when you are recognizing a part, there is a vritti vyapti and phala vyapti. So okay, let me spend some time. Our understanding of how a knowledge takes place. Okay, in our typically shastras, suppose I say there is a remote. So what we say is the mind, the vritti takes the form of this remote. Okay, takes the form. It doesn't literally mean, don't think that it goes out and takes the form of this. There is a vritti which is happening. Vritti means a process of change in the mind. Okay. There is a process of change in the mind which takes the shape of this remote. Okay, so that is the vritti vyapti. Phala vyapti is when I am able to observe that vritti. Okay, so where I observe, so I am known and me knowing that vritti also is there. Okay, when both are taking place, then I have vritti vyapti and phala vyapti are both there, then I know that there is a remote. And this you can extend to anything else you know, except for Atma. Okay. In the Atma, there is no phala vyapti, there is only vritti vyapti. Okay, because there is only a vritti of Atma, there is no separate mover who is knowing the known. Okay, that's why it is called Akhandagara vritti. This is called Sakara vritti. Akara means a shape. Okay, the shape of the remote is there in that vritti, so that is a Sakara vritti. But in the case of Atma, it is not limited by any attributes. I, that's all. So that is why it is a negating jnana. Okay. So if you look at how the Vedanta Vakyas are, all of them are only negating Vakyas. Neti neti is what we say. Even when you say Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, Satyam looks like a positive word. But how Satyam is defined is Yadrupena Yannischitam Tadrupam Navyapicharat Tat Satyam. One that has been determined to be a certain thing, if that nature is never falsified, that is called Satyam. Then what do? You look at every object and say, okay, this Rupa gives itself to something else. So you keep on negating everything, and what remains is your Swarupa. See, you can never positively define Atma in the sense, because there is no attribute. I think I already said that, right? In fact, Shankaracharya takes an example. This is a Taittiriya Upanishad thing, right? When you say Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, you are using 3 adjectives to show Brahma. Okay. Now, is it like Neelam Mahat Sugandhi Utpalam? He takes up. Okay. Neelam Mahat Sugandhi Utpalam. Utpalam means lily. Okay. So, there are 3 adjectives used. Suppose you tell somebody, you go and bring me a lily. Okay. But there are 20 lilies lying there. Then you ask, which lily do you want? You say the fragrant lily. Okay. Now, out of 200 lilies, 50 lilies are fragrant. Okay. So that is Sugandhi Utpalam. There are 50. Then, out of the fragrant ones, you bring the blue ones, Neelam. Okay. So the 50 is now reduced to 10. Okay? And then you say Neelam Mahat, bring the largest lily out of the blue ones. Now what have you done? That's a Vyavartakam. The Visheshanam is Vyavartakam. It separates out what you want from the other ones. Okay. So he asked this question. So is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma also is a Vyavartakam? Does it bring the correct Brahman out of all the Brahmans which are there? See, one Brahman itself I don't know. So where is the question of adjectives separating Brahman from? So therefore he said these are Lakshana Vakya. So when you are Lakshana means it is pointing you, not a Vyavartakam. And he gives an example, what is a Lakshanam? So how do you understand space? He says Avakasha Pradatri Akasham. That which accommodates is Akasha, space. Space is something which accommodates everything. Okay. So from that you understand what is space. What is it that accommodates everything? So it's basically the dimensionality is what you call as space. Okay. Space is not ether. Some people translate space as ether, right? So space is something which accommodates everything. That is a definition. That's a Lakshana. Now here then there are three words. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. So then he says, Pratyekam, every one word is a Lakshana of Brahman. So Satyam is Brahman. Jnanam is Brahman. Anantam is Brahman. Okay. That is why Prajnanam Brahma itself is a Mahavakya. So when you say consciousness is Brahma, that you cannot have a confusion. Because there are no two consciousness, right? The only source of consciousness is always you. Okay. What you objectify cannot be consciousness. That which is not objectifiable is consciousness. So when you say Prajnana Brahma, consciousness is Brahma, it is considered a Mahavakya. See, Mahavakya means Jiva and Ishvara have to be equated. Tattvamasi I can understand. Tat means Brahma, Tvam means you. Whereas when you say Prajnanam Brahma, so you are not equating, where are you saying it is you? But because Prajnanam can only be you, it can never be a discognition. Okay. Swamiji used to do this exercise. He will say, I will keep telling words, see what comes to your mind. Okay, and he will say elephant, tree, mountain, and then say consciousness. Then book, flower, ball, chair, consciousness. So for everything else you will have something come to your mind, but when you say consciousness, you don't have an object that you can think of, right? So that's why Prajnanam Brahma is something which is a Mahavakya. Okay. So where I was going is, everything is a negating Vakya. Okay, consciousness also you don't objectify and know. So that which is non-conscious, all if you negate, what remains is only consciousness, right? So every word that defines Brahman is technically only a negating word. Okay, because Brahman cannot be shown as this is what is Brahman. Okay, what you can say is this is not Brahma, this is not Brahma, this is not Brahma. Then what remains is only Brahman, because that alone cannot be negated. This is not. That's why neti, 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 neti is what? It is not this, not this. Our Vishishtadvaiti says neti means naitam. They are very Sanskrit. So it's not naitam. They say naitam. So Bhagavan is not like this. When you say he is Satyam, he is not this kind of a Satyam. He is a different kind of Satyam. His Jnana means he has a different kind of Jnana where he knows the whole thing. Then his Ananda means he is not this kind of Alpa Ananda. So his Guna is Kalyana Guna. Like his Guna is something is immeasurable, like you cannot even imagine. Matrameva Upajivanti. So what you know is very limited. Tripadasya Amritam Divi. His biggest part is in heaven. Once you go there, then you will know. That's what they say. Okay, Naitam is how they translate. Anyway, so now coming back. So this Atma Anatma Sambandha is talking about. Okay. Now we have to say what is this Sukha. Okay. So there are Swamiji talks about 2-3 different Sukhas. Okay. One is called Vidya Sukha. We already saw Archimedes thing, right? So when you gain a Jnanam, there is a Sukha. Okay. That is a Vidya Sukha. Then you have something called Vishaya Sukha. Vishaya Sukha we know. Whenever sense objects are come in touch with senses, it is called Vishaya Sukha. There are also two kinds of Vishaya Sukha we talk about. One, once you see, suppose you want to see, there is a new, we will come to the cell phone example itself, right? New iPhone has come. So you go to a showroom and have a look at it, you are happy already because you have seen, right? That is one level. Then you buy it, that is even more sukha. So there are two levels of Vishaya Sukha, as Swamiji says, okay? So Vidya Sukha, Vishaya Sukha. Then the third one they talk about is Yoga Sukha, okay? Which also is all your bhakti and bhajan, all these things also give you a certain happiness, right? When you are doing pranayama, you get some happiness. When you are in this meditation and all that, so these are all called Yoga Sukha, okay? Then there is a fourth Sukha which is called as Turiya Sukha or Swarupa Sukha. Okay? And this Sukha is not like the other ones, it is Swarupa itself, okay? Which is actually the basis for all the other Sukha, like we have already seen. And once you are on it, right, through Jnanam, then it becomes Atyantikam, okay? It doesn't end because it's your own nature. Okay, so that is the absolute sukha that he is talking about. It is not an experiential sukha. Everything else is experiential sukha, and everything is dependent largely on senses, right? Except for yoga sukha, which is a mental disposition, right? Whereas this one is a swarupa sukha. Okay, so this is also buddhigrahyam, but it is based on your swarupa. So that is the sukham he is talking about. Okay. That's why it says Tattvena Tattvataha na chalati. Atyantikam sukham Tattvataha na chalati. Tattvataha means from its essential nature or swarupa, the person never moves away. Okay, that is why it is called Perinbam, because it is unending and is always there as your swarupa, and you can't better it. Okay. Just seeing what else is Swamiji discussing on this. Okay. So you can't better it. We'll start with that next verse. Yam labdva cha param labham.
Yam labdva cha param labham.
Manyate nadikam tataha.
Manyate nadikam tataha.
Yasmin sthito na dukkhena.
Yasmin sthito na dukkhena.
Guruna vichalyate.
Guruna vichalyate.
And next one also, right? Tam vidya dukkha samyoga viyogam yoga sangitam.
Tam vidya dukkha samyoga viyogam yoga sangitam.
Sanischayena yoktavyaha.
Sanischayena yoktavyaha.
Nischayena. Yogo nirvinna chetasa.
Yogo nirvinna chetasa.
So this dukkha samyoga viyogam is a compound. Translate it. Cha yam labdva tataha adikam aparam labham namanyate. Yasmin sthitaha sanne guruna api dukkhena na vichalyate. Tam dukkha samyoga viyogam yoga sangitam vidyat. Anirvinna chetasa saha yogaha nischayena yoktavyaha. Okay, fairly straightforward. Cha is and, okay, so it's just connecting. That's why Bhashikara says kicha, okay, just connects it, saying as a continuation. Yam labdva, having gained that what? That sukham, right? Having gained, tataha adhikam aparam labham namanyate. There is nothing better than that. Okay, anything else always moves you away. In fact, this is a gain which cannot be bettered. Okay, aparam labham namanyate. Yasmin sthitaha sanne, having established in it, even a biggest dukkha, guruna api dukkhena na vichalyate, the person is not affected. That kind of a dukkha samyoga viyogam, dissociation with association, dissociation from association with sorrow. Okay, it's a very interesting usage because Bhagavan doesn't say dukkha viyogam. Dukkha viyogam means your swarupa, if it is it has a nature of having dukkha, then how will you come out of it? So he says dukkha samyoga, from the samyoga, so you are getting associated with dukkha which is not your nature. So that association you dissociate from. Okay, so he says dukkha samyoga viyogam. Yoga Sankitam is called by the name of yoga. It's a new definition of yoga he is giving. Okay, which technically means jnanam only. Okay, dukkha samyoga viyogam. Vidyat anirvinna chetasa, may one know by a mind that is not discouraged. Saha yogaha nischayena, with clarity yoktavyaha should be pursued. Okay, the jnanam should be pursued. Okay, so Swamiji is actually talking from Tattvataha na chalati. Let's see what Bhashyakara says. Yam labdva cha aparam labham yat yam atmalabham labdva prapya aparam anyat labhantaram adhikam asti iti namanyate. So the person doesn't consider anything as greatest labha. Okay. Why? Okay. So the reason is, so we said this sukha, Atma Sukha, is not dependent on anything else. You are not waiting for fulfillment of any of your desire for this sukha. Because like we have said, when you gain any other sukha also, at that time the sukha that you are experiencing is actually only your Swarupa Sukha. Okay, so the Priya Moda Pramoda we talk about in Shastra, there is a Taradamya of Sukha. In fact, there is what is called an Ananda Mimamsa in Taittiriya Upanishad, where it is said, Asishto Dradishto Balishtaha, if you take a person who is very strong, Asishtaha, and who is very knowledgeable, okay, and he is very powerful, that kind of a person, and who has the entire wealth of the world, like, and he has mastery and control over everything that is there. Suppose such a person exists. Assume that to be one unit of human Ananda. If that kind of a human Ananda, then it goes on to say, Teye Shatam Manushya Ananda. So the Manushya Gandharva Ananda has 100 times this Ananda. And then it says a Jnani gets the same Ananda. Okay. Then there is a Deva Gandharva who has 100 times this Manushya Gandharvananda, but then the Jnani gets that kind of Ananda. So it keeps on going all the way to Prajapati, Brihaspati, Indra, and all these things it says, and then says the Atma Ananda is equivalent to each one of them. So that kind of a comparison it just gives to show that if you imagine the kind of Ananda which can come, the Swarupa Ananda, so it doesn't mean it is, we are talking about experiential Ananda here. It is an unlimited thing because it's your own Swarupa. Because there is nothing which is going to hinder you in terms of Ananda. That's what it is. So that kind of a Sukha, which is Atma Sukha, what can better that? That is the question here, right? Because it is not dependent on anything. You are not going to be dependent on fulfillment of something for you to gain that Ananda. Which means, so whatever you seek, now suddenly suppose you want to seek something else, it is only going to reduce you. Jnani is not going to seek, but if you were to seek, then you are actually again becoming an Ajnani only, right? Which is not possible, okay? Okay, so there are two kinds of things that is spoken here. One is the Jnanam which is spoken in the 20th verse, which is the Atma Yatra Chayeva Atmana Atmanam Pashya Atmani Tushyati. That Tushyati, there is actually again from Jnanam only. From Jnanam the person is satisfied. Yoga Sevaya Tushyati. Now this one, Sukhamatyantikam Buddhigrahyam is talking about in the 21st verse, is also an Ananda because of Jnana Nishtha, the person is experiencing the same thing. Okay. But either one, both of them being a jnana related sukha, it is not about seeking but is about your Swarupa only, he says. Okay. The yuj, now coming to this word yuj yojane is there, which is what we typically use for yoga. And the nirodha artha is also there. Yogaha chittavritti nirodha. The nirodha artha you can use the word yuj. So here Bhagavan is using yuj in terms of how from a dissociation from an association. Samyoga viyoga. Okay, that's what it means. Sam is added to yoga means an association, strong association. Okay, but yeah, so you coming out of the strong association, that is the samyoga viyoga. And what is that dukkha samyoga? Dukkha samyoga is only about identifying yourself to the upadhi, okay, as an individual. That is the dukkha samyoga. Even though you are infinite, you are actually nirguna niravayava vastu, the dukkha happens because you identify yourself with the individuality. That is the dukkha samyoga. Okay. So what brings the viyoga from it is obviously jnana. Okay, the samyoga is like I am a human being, I am a mortal, I am this, I am that, right? And all the other identity which comes. See, the basic identity, I am this individual jiva, which is the human body, right? And then along with it, all the associations come, right? I am an Indian. And then you have all the Indian problems, okay? Then I belong to this category, I am a Kshatriya, all Kshatriya problems also is yours. So, depends on where you are locating your ego on, right? So, I am a South Indian. Then all my association with my South Indianness brings all the South Indian problem onto me. Because I own up all that problem, right? Why are South Indians being discriminated against? Okay, then that is my problem, right? Then then I identify myself as an Indian. See, every level when I am identified, any identity brings its problem onto me, right? And even as an individual, I am a father, that's a role play. If you see that as a role play, so typically we say, right, when a rich man, an actor, he is acting as a beggar, let's say, and he cries. So everybody are looking at him also cry. When Shivaji Ganesan is acting as a beggar, then you also cry, all people watching. But Shivaji Ganesan won't really cry, right? Because he knows he is a rich guy, okay? So he is playing a role. If you know that you are playing a role, there is no problem. But if you identify that you are a beggar, then there is a problem. So here, because you have an ignorance, whatever identity, so as a father, I have all the father problem, right? So if my children are not getting a job, I have a problem, right? I myself am unhappy, right? Similarly, if, like I said, if you identify with the category, if you identify with the nation, you identify with the cricket team. Chennai Super Kings loses, you cry one day. So, because of your identity, right? All this is an identity. It's all dukkha. Every identity is a dukkha, right? And though we can say that I will come out of Super Kings identity, but if you lose a match, you are unhappy, right? Like this, how many identities we have? Every day we identify with so many different things. And each of this, if it is seen as a role, you create the space between the role and you, then you can happily play the role. Okay, as a father, if you know the fathership is only a role, then you have a freedom, right? You have complete freedom. You do what is to be done correctly as a father, you will do, because you are not compulsively doing it. Okay, you are doing it because it is your dharma. Okay, so that is where even if you are not a jnani, if you have the sense that you are a spoke in the wheel of Bhagavan, then you have a certain space in which you are playing the role. But if you associate, you take it as yourself, right? That is the dukkha samyoga. Why we are talking about it in the context of dukkha samyoga, right? The dukkha samyoga happens because you are identifying yourself with the role, and that starts with this body. See, all this is about this body. No? End of the day, your identity as a Brahmana, as a Kshatriya, as an Indian, as a Super King is all about this body only. No? This body has all those. Okay, but if you really think about it, this is also incidental for you. In fact, even right now when you are sleeping and when you are dreaming and sitting in the class also, you are not thinking of this body, right? But when even in this life, so if you think of afterlife, this body is also incidental, right? So it comes and goes. Every day it comes and goes. When you wake up, only the body is there for you. In dream, you have a different body, right? And whatever body you take in the dream, that goes away with the dream. Okay, next day the same body doesn't come, right? It's a different dream. Only this body every day I wake up, it continues. That is the only difference. See, that's why they say when you analyze dream, the dream also, anything that you see in the dream, it is made up of the same Sat, which is your Swarupa, consciousness. And all that you see in the dream, every object, everything is pervaded by that consciousness, right? What is different in Vakan? Vakan also it is pervaded by the consciousness. The only thing is, in dream you can say it is based on your memory. And that you know only after you come out of the dream. Not when you are having the dream, you don't realize that it is out of my memory, right? You are still in the Vakan. So you can say this is not based on my memory because I didn't create this Srishti, right? This was already there, so it is a Ishvara Srishti. But then when you come out of the Vakan ignorance, then you will see what it is. But that's why even in the Vakan, we say it is Ishvara Srishti. But then the fact is that all you see here is not away from consciousness. To that extent, between the dream and Vakan, there is no difference. Because in Vakan also, anything that you see is not away from your consciousness. Okay? But then, there it is Jiva Srishti, here it is Ishvara Srishti. That is the only difference. So that is the Dukkha Samyoga Viyogam. So the more you recognize your Swarupa, the Viyogam happens. So this is a new definition of yoga Bhagavan gives. Okay, most of the places we use yoga as where you are collected and karma yoga and all that. Okay, so here he uses a different definition that it is samyoga viyoga. Okay, so what creates that samyoga is only ignorance. Okay, so when you come out of, so viyoga happens only through jnana. Okay. And this jnanam also has to be pursued nischayena. Okay, so sa nischayena yoktavyaha. Nischayena is viveka buddhi. Okay, discrimination. So when you have clarity, when you analyze, that's what pariksha lokan karmajita nirveda maya brahmana. So once you have real clarity that this is the only goal, there is nothing else. I have already analyzed and seen the inefficacy of this world to give me the sukha. Okay, that is very clear, right? What else we have to see? Okay, we have enough experience in life to conclude that this is not going to lead us anywhere. Another 15 years of doing the same thing, or 30 years, whatever is left for us, is not going to make us any better. And this is not going to give me anything better also. The only doubt will come is, will I really get this jnanam or not, right? Beyond that, there is no lack of clarity that this is the only thing left for me. Everything else has already been experienced. And going to Swarga, what else the other religions are going to promise me, right? That you will go to Vaikuntha, right? Even if you go to Vaikuntha, there will be already some crores of people sitting there, right? If really that is a place. So you are going to be somewhere seated behind in the queue, right? And God is way far off because there are so many people in front of you. And they say only Sri Vaishnavas will sit in the front row also. So again, so you have those kind of problems, right? And even if you sit there, what is the guarantee that you are going to be all the time happy? If you see, when I say I go to Vaikuntha, I can say I go to Vaikuntha only if my mind also comes with me, right? My mind, so the Sukshma Sharira has to come. Then only you can say I go. If only Atma goes, then this I am not going to be happy, right? So that means I am going to go with my mind, suppose. I go with my mind and sit there. Will I not be worried what is happening down here? Whether this year Chennai Super Kings won or not will be there, right? So all kinds of dukkhas will be there even if you go to Swarga. So we know that is also another samsara only. Whether you go to Brahmaloka or Vaikuntha or Kailasa or whatever. So then where is the solution to the problem? Right? So there, within this you can't find a solution. Within the samsara, in the Dvaita Jagat, there is no solution. You can have 10 lakhs, then you 1 crore, 10 crore, but you will still be unhappy, right? So 72 hoors are not going to make you any more happy, right? You have only more problems. Okay. So that much we have clarity. why we are talking about it, this Nischayena Yoktavyaha, the Viveka is there. Anirvinna Chetasa, so the mind is not frustrated or tired because the pursuit is about your own self. As the clarity increases, you only enjoy, right? Why would you not enjoy being yourself? Right? You are the greatest source of joy. So we Atmanastu Kamaya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati, we say. Even things we love outside, we love them because I see a happy me when they are happy. Okay. When I suppose you will say, even when I see a beggar, okay, I love helping them. Okay. So is that not actually, Paropagara is not, that is not selfish, no? Because it's not Atmanastu Kamaya. I am very generous. But then if you really think about it, a Dukki beggar, you are not able to stand. Basically, once you see him happy, you become happy. It's not selfishness. But it is indirectly, it is your happiness is because by seeing them happy, you are happy. Still, for your own happiness only you are doing. Why are you sleeping? Because you are happy as a sleeper, right? You are happy helping people. Some people are happy. See, Karna, for example. We say Karna is the greatest giver and all. But that is because he was happy. His childhood was so problematic. So it was a very painful childhood, right? Because he didn't know who his mother was. He was brought up by somebody. So because he was a Kshatriya, he naturally had skills. But he was not treated as one. So it was very painful. So then he felt happy when he gave people and they praised him, right? So it is also a ego nurturing, nothing wrong with it. But then there also it is Atmanakama only. Atmakama only is making one happy. So knowing oneself or trying to be oneself will be the happiest pursuit that everybody will take. So that's why Bhagavan says, Anirvinna Chetasa, you do. So there is no dukkha here, right? So you don't have to be worried or frustrated, I became a sannyasi because I was good for nothing, right? That's not the point, right? Even though you start that way, many people take sannyasa because they are frustrated. Most of sannyasis are dropouts, right? No offense, Swamiji. So generally people drop out because they are not happy with the worldly thing, right? Some people, I'm not saying everybody is like that, many of them are like that. Some people really have a want for this knowledge also, okay? So that is why they come to this. But eventually, you don't need to be this thing that I only am a sannyasi, I have left everything and all that, right? It's a happy pursuit. Generally, sannyasis are happy, right? Because, in fact, in one place, Shankaracharya says, I forgot the exact phrase, he says, Bahya Vishaya Bahya Anapekshaha Brahmanaha Tushtaha Drishyante or something like that. He says, without having any external belongings or things which will externally make them happy, you find a lot of Brahmajnanis being happy, not all of them, right? Bahya Anapeksha, something like that he uses. See, what it means is, from an external person, when you look at this person, you will find that he or she doesn't have anything. Okay, there is no possession, there is not even basic comfort, right? The person is sleeping just on the floor, doesn't have any cloths beyond one more cloth, but then the person is happy. Okay, how is it possible? There is a story, no? So you like stories. So one guy, okay, this is a standard, typically you will hear this story. One guy is having just a kaupina and lying down, okay, under a tree somewhere, okay. So like this in this Indian or Onion movie, right, he is just lying down, he should be killed and all that. So one guy really gets angry, say, why are you wasting time lying down here? So he asked that fellow, okay, that is fine, but what are you doing? Okay. He says, I am running some grocery shop. Okay. So by doing grocery shop, what will you do? He says, by running a grocery shop, I earn a lot of money and then I will set up a big supermarket. Okay, fine. So set up supermarket, then what will you do? Then I will make a lot of money, I will grow up my children in a wealthy way. Okay. Okay, fine. Once they have grown up, what will you do? I will get them married. Okay, fine. After you married them, what will you do? He says, I will lie down and then be relaxed. He says, that is what I am doing now. For lying down and relaxing, you have to do all these things, right? Whereas I am already that way, so why should I worry about? So a sannyasi is happy, right? We think he is alone, but it is we who are holding on to the bear, like I told the other day, right? You say a bear is holding on to me, holding on to me. Just look at it, right? You are holding on to possessions, right? Nobody expects you to see. You ask your children, they'll say, no, I am happy being what I am, right? But you say, no, I'll help you, right? Most of the cases, this is what happens. So they want to be, especially when they are growing up abroad, they are happy to be left alone, right? So, but we have this attachment. I'm not saying don't do anything for children. That's not, we are just analyzing the situation. We all do what is needed to be done. But then mentally you can be away from it, right? So there is no, the Anirvinna Chetasa is what we are discussing, right? So Nirveda Rahitena is what Tacha Itarena Nirveda Rahitena Chetasa Chittena is what Bhashikara says. Okay? Without any unnecessary disturbance, just enjoy. Okay? Because the possessions, okay, that other story also I will tell because you've been asking many days. How you get attached to things, that is where I was going to say. This is a context, so we will say. So again, one Sishya and Guru. Okay, so the Guru and Sishya are there. So the Guru tells the Shishya he is going to Badrinath. In those days you have to walk and come back, right? So it will take 4-6 months, 1 year. So he tells the Shishya, be careful, okay, you are a sannyasi, so you have to take care of ashram and all that, but remain dispassionate, all that he advises and goes. The Shishya also remains that way only. Then one day he sees one rat, okay, running. So the rat is going, so he didn't know what to do with it, okay, because Guru has said take care of the ashram. So he thinks, okay, to get rid of the rat, I have to get a cat. Okay, so he goes and brings a cat. So what happens, this cat keeps the ashram clean without any rats, it takes care of it. But he has to feed the cat. So then what he goes to some houses there and says, I need to feed the cat, I need milk. So you give me one cow. Okay. So he gets a cow. Okay. Then the cow comes and the cat is fed. Then the cow, then it puts a calf and all that. Then suddenly it becomes some 7 or 8 calves and cow. Over another 2 years happen, Guru hasn't come back yet. And there's lot of milk. He didn't know what to do with this milk. Then he starts selling the milk. Okay. So this continues like this. After some 3-4 years, Guru comes back, a big factory is running there. So this fellow he asked him to take care of ashram, but ashram is now already converted. So that's how it goes on, right? Life goes like that. That Narada story also is there. No, Narada, it's a similar story, though I'll tell this also, story. So Narada is, he is sitting and then he is asking Krishna or Vishnu, what is the samsara? Okay. So Bhagavan says, no, I'm thirsty, okay, just go and get some water from a lake nearby. So he goes to the lake. There's some woman sitting there and crying. You would have heard the story, right? Then he talks to her, she tells some stories, my heart is broken down, this, that. He becomes friend, then he gets married, children are there, then suddenly, so the whole life goes on. Then suddenly one day Bhagavan comes. Okay, and everything gets washed away or something, right? He sits and he is crying. So Bhagavan comes there, asks what happened. So he doesn't even ask what happened. So Bhagavan comes there and says, so I asked you for water, where is it? Okay. So then Narada says, oh, whatever I've seen, what is all this? Bhagavan says, this is what Maya is about, right? So you have, the whole thing takes you for a ride. Okay. The reason I combine these stories, it's the same thing, no? This fellow started with a good intention only to just remove the rat. But then it takes you away, right? You go so far off, by the time you realize it's like that guy who slept in the drama, right? So your life is already gone. So the moment you know that you need to come out of it, better we cling on to it and go with it, right? That's why Anirvinna Chetasa Nischayana Yoktavyaha. In that context, I think these are good stories. Next one. Sankalpa Prabhavan Kaman
Sankalpa prabhavan kaman
Tyaktva sarvana seshatah
Tyaktva sarvana seshatah
Manasaivendriya gramam
Manasaivendriya gramam
Viniyamya samantatah
Viniyamya samantatah
Shanairuparame
Shanai Shanairuparame
Buddhyadriti grihitaya
Buddhyadrihi grihitaya
Atma samstam manah kritva
Atma samsam manaskritva
Na kinchidapi chintayet.
Nakinchidapi chintayet.
Okay. Here he is talking about again some techniques. Okay. Sankalpa prabhavan sarvan kaman aseshatah tiktva manasa eva samantatah indriyagramam viniyamya dhriti grihitaya buddhya shanaihi uparamet atmasamstam manah kritva kinchitapi na chintayet. Okay, it is a meditation technique only he is talking about. So he is actually combining all of them, the karma yoga and this dhyana, whatever he so far spoke about, he is actually combining. So he is saying sankalpa prabhavan kaman tektva. Okay. So like I already said in the earlier session, two ways of taking it. One is the Vaidika way. Vaidika way is leave the kamya karmas out and do only nitya naimittika karma. See, like Jaishankarji was saying, when you are doing nitya naimittika karma, the fruit of that karma is not even known to you. You do sandhyavandana, you do avupasana, you do some all this karma, right? Even puja for that matter. How do you know it is working, right? But only because of Shraddha and your intent that I want moksha. Only for that purpose you are doing that. There is nothing else because you don't know something comes out. If anything that you are expecting to come out of it is you will get chitta shuddhi or some punya. How do you know that there is a punya? Right? It's only Shraddha. Right? Purely Shraddha. Because of which you are doing a nitya naimittika karma itself, whether that gives punya or not, actually it does give. Okay, that is our Shraddha. Even if not, even then psychologically if you think about it, you are giving up your ragadvesha. You are doing only actions which are technically not giving you anything. Right? So only that mantra will give you some purification. Other than that you are doing it that gives you nothing. Right? So you are actually likes and dislikes are being given up. So that's why instead of doing laukika karma, if you do these things, there is always two benefits. See, like chanting Veda. Veda we say there is a Sabda Visesha and Artha Visesha. Both are there. So even if you don't know the meaning, the Veda still gives you benefit because these are mantras. Okay. The sound itself gives you benefit. Okay. That's why they say just listen. Even if you don't chant, just listen. There is a saying that anywhere a dharmic activity or Veda chanting or anything goes on, you should go there even uninvited. You don't have to wait for people to invite you. You will at some home, something good is something good is going on. You are supposed to go there uninvited. You shouldn't say, hey, they didn't invite, so I won't go. But if it is a laukika thing, right, you should never go uninvited. Okay? That is what they say. Even Avaya says, no? Madhyadar Talaivasal Madhitvargal Central Divyam Ikodi, she says. But for dharmic activity, you should go uninvited. Right? So, basically what we are trying to say is this Nitya Naimittika karma or the Veda chanting, whatever, it gives you a purification. Okay? So, you should do that. But psychologically also, because you are not expecting anything out of it, so your ragadvesha gets neutralized. So sankalpa prabhavan kaman tektva. So that is one interpretation, which is a Vaidika interpretation. Why sankalpa? The sankalpa prabhavan kaman or kamya karma. Okay, so you give that nitya naimittika only you do. But in today's context again, so sankalpa prabhavan kaman tektva means do only the duty that you are called upon. As a mother, if you are called upon to do certain things, as a karma yoga you do it, right? Necessary things alone you do and keep yourself in the nishtha all the time. Okay? And that will be a joy. See, initially it will be difficult to bring your mind back to it again and once. See, generally people will say, so long as I was in Anaikatti, it's all fine. But once I come to Chennai, it has changed, right? So you have to slowly keep, we all have the same problem, so it is no different for anybody. So you have to start doing it consciously, then you will start, it will become part of it. Right? So Sankalpa Prabhavan Sarvan Kaman Aseshataha Tiktva, he says just to give up all desires, because he is talking about a sannyasi who has already given up karma. Manasa eva samantataha indriya kramam viniyamya, withdrawing all the senses. Okay, so by the mind completely engrossed in it, triti grihitya, triti means dharanam, right, which is perseverance. That kind of a buddhya, shanai shanaihi, I was just saying, no, slowly, okay, gradually, uparamete, may one resolve the mind, where in the Atma Swarupa, to become a contemplative mind which abides in yourself, and don't keep thinking of anything else. So whenever you think of something, just bring it back. Basically, he's saying get into samadhi, right? Become one with it. Okay, so that is the goal. Okay, but so keep working on it. So we'll see. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.